Hi, I'm Brenda Norris, the librarian here at Shell Points Library, and this is Jerry DiPiazza, who built this beautiful credenza for us. It started with a tiny little sketch that I did, and then I took it home and gave it to my husband, who looked at it and said, "Oh," and he redrew it with dimensions and everything. Then I marched down to the wood shop looking for the gentleman who is in charge there, and he was out with a rotator cuff surgery. So they introduced me to Larry, and Larry said, "Well, I'm not sure if somebody would like to do this or not, but I had a drawing, we'll put it up on the bulletin board and see if anybody says they'll do it." And Jerry stepped up and came up and he measured, then he redrew it. And I don't think I've ever seen so many, what do you want to call it, Jerry? Every inch, every board was measured out. Tell me how
I was frightened to death. It was a challenging request, though. Many would not necessarily believe that. The first thing was it was going to be 90 inches long. And it's hard to build one piece of anything that's going to be strong enough to survive being 90 inches long. So we had to come up with something that was going to be light enough to maneuver, yet strong enough to carry all the materials that this has to support.
And if you look at the drawers, they come up and they slide back in.
They're barrister drawers.
They're barrister drawers. They're beautiful. Jerry, where did the wood come for all this?
Well, we were very fortunate. I believe there were large, very large doors in the church, the Shell Point Church, and they were donated. The wood from those doors was donated to the wood shop. And the thing is that the doors were built of strips of oak flooring, basically. So we had quite a pile of oak flooring that resides in the wood shop that we use to make various things. So this is a collection of pieces of oak flooring that have been glued together and screwed together to make this cabinet. The second feature about the cabinet is that it is built on a basis of what I call a space frame approach, which builds a frame which is strong enough, very strong, to carry the length and the weight that this cabinet has to provide for. And then all the additional woods that are put on provide means to build the floor and the sides, which are basically very thin pieces of plywood instead of big heavy pieces of plywood. So the cabinet can remain light and hopefully durable and strong enough to maneuver and provide all of the strength that it needs to carry the weights that it has to carry. The second item was to provide somewhat of an attractive look than just a shelf. And Brenda said she'd like to hide some of the materials that the shelf or the cabinet would contain, and I thought that the barrister doors would be a wonderful approach with decorative glass. One of the things the shop people like to use is the polyurethane coatings, many of them, to provide a finish for all of the cabinetry they build. A nice thing about it is when and if there is any long-term degradation because of scratches and the like, that kind of a finish is easily groomed again with light sanding and a reapplication of the polyurethane.
And the money to buy this or pay for this came from memorials for Jerry Crawford, who died about a year ago. And his wife Fern said, "Please do something in Jerry's name." And so this is what we decided to do.